a letter that I've been asked to read out from local young friend Liam Renouf, who is actually at the protest in London, but he's asked me to read this out to you, so I hope you'll bear with me. Friends, siblings, comrades, I send this message with a heavy heart. I'm speaking as a trade unionist, disgusted and appalled at the treatment of the Palestinian people. Disgusted and appalled at the complicity of the British and Jersey governments. Disgusted and appalled at the silence of the Labour Party, Her Majesty's official opposition. Disgusted and appalled at the silence of the establishment media, and disgusted and appalled at the complicity of international finance and capital, investing monies in companies built on stolen land. The violence against the Palestinian people is violence of a colonial project. We must be honest about the irony of our leaders' silence. 1 year ago, kneeling and claiming that they believe Black Lives Matter, saying we must do better to come to terms with our colonial past and must work on ourselves to decolonise our minds, whilst being silent about a current colonialist project that has created an apartheid state. I'm sure that many people here today are here to support the Palestinian people in their defence of their homes, of their families and their land. The scenes that have unfolded in Sheikh Jarrah, East Jerusalem, and the violence that we are now seeing in Gaza is sickening. We must be brave enough to call it what it is, genocide. We must send the Palestinian people our solidarity, our love, and also our rage. But I come to you as a trade unionist, someone that believes that we can change the world through organising together and through acts of material solidarity. From the struggle against apartheid in South Africa to the Vietnam War, trade unionists have always stood at the forefront of struggle against oppression, war and tyranny. In Chile in 1973, with the support of President Nixon, General Augusto Pinochet led a military coup and overthrew the socialist government of Salvador Allende. The coup d'etat was bloody and violent. Trade unionists, socialists and students were murdered in the streets, and a military dictatorship was installed pursuing harsh neoliberal policies. I want to share the inspirational story of Ross Walton, Robert Somerville and John Keenan, whose acts of workers' solidarity saved many lives during the coup d'etat. These brave men worked in a Rolls-Royce factory in East Kilbride, Scotland. This factory, incidentally, also made the engines for the Hunter F-73, the planes used by the Chilean military. These men halted the production of the engines and through their trade union network ensured that the logistics workers did not transport them to be shipped to Chile. This was such a vital act of workers' solidarity in the face of a brutal military dictatorship. Ordinary people who held power in the workplace stood up and said, "No, it is with this I am asking you today to go to your workplaces and say no. Say no to Israeli apartheid. Say no to genocide. We must act now and use the tried and tested strategy of boycott, divest and sanction. Boycott, withdraw support from Israel's apartheid regime, complicit Israeli sporting, cultural and academic institutions, and from all Israeli and international companies engaged in violation of Palestinians' human rights. Divestment. Urge banks, local councils for our state's members, churches, pensions funds, universities, including Highlands, to withdraw investments from the state of Israel and all Israeli and international companies that sustain Israeli apartheid. Sanctions. Pressure governments to fulfill their legal obligations to end Israeli apartheid and not aid or assist its maintenance, by banning businesses with illegal Israeli settlements, ending military trade and free trade agreements, as well as suspending Israel's membership in international forums such as the UN bodies and FIFA. I'm asking you to open dialogue with your colleagues, join a trade union and work together in your workplaces to end working with complicit companies propping up an apartheid regime. If you work in the food and service industry, I'm asking you to work with your colleagues to help your employers to divest from Israeli products. If you work in the public sector, I'm asking you to urge your employers to divest any pensions with Israeli companies. If you work in finance, I'm asking you to urge your employees to boycott Israeli companies and divest from companies that uphold Israeli apartheid. I'm asking you to pressure institutional boycott, divest and sanctions where you hold power. I'm asking you to be extraordinarily brave in such an ordinary way, like those workers in East Kilbride. I want to end on a verse from Percy Shelley's The Mask of Anarchy. Rise like lions after slumber in an unvanquishable number. Shake your chains to earth like dew, which in sleep had fallen on you. Ye are many, they are few. From the river, to the sea, Palestine will be free. You can do. Ask our states members to end their relationships and not pursue relationships anymore with this criminal apartheid states. 2. Boycott Puma, who are supporting football teams in Israeli settlements, whilst Palestinian footballers are actually being deliberately shot in their legs so they can no longer play football, and are actually refused to be able to travel to take part in competitive sports around the world. The final thing you can do is please keep telling people about what is happening. And please remember not to allow yourselves to be intimidated by Israel, by its apartheid lobby and its apologists. It is not anti-Semitic to say that Palestinians have the right to live, to have a right to exist, to be free, equal, and to live a life of dignity. So I ask for its support.